Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Take a Pull podcast. We've made it to 4 episodes, 4 more than we, with everyone's support, 4 more than we may have hoped for. But we're still going strong, still tipping plenty of winners. And Deck, how are you?
Yeah, hard to believe we're on top 4 already.
I know.
We'll have a bit of a break now, unless you want to do one on your own.
We'll see how it plays out. I know we do have the Munster National coming up on the weekend, but that is the weekend's action because we do have a beautiful, seven race card coming to you from Thurles this Thursday.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
This is what it's all about.
The T in tap should stand for Thurles.
Yeah, Thurles is going to be a staple. We've got Thurles in the corner as well. I found out how to for any of our video watchers, I can put the logo of the race course up in the corner. Yeah. That's about as far as my tech skills go. But
I hope there's someone from Thurles listening, because we're going to be doing something out in the Thurles this winter.
Oh God, yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to it. The Thursdays at Thurles are some of my favorite midweek Irish meetings. It's a really good track. Much better racing than it probably gets credit for as well. You're usually always good to get a bit of decent ground down there as well. It takes usually an act of God to call off racing down there. Really, yeah, tight enough track as well, but good horses win around Thurles, as what you will find out as the season goes on. Most people call this a lackluster card. We call it a card where you make money. This is going to be our bread and butter. We've got a Mare's Beginner's Chase to start us off with. Handicap Chase, few maiden hurdles, brighter days ahead, making our hurdling debut is going to probably be the talking point on this card. And the He'll Be Remembered hurdle, if you remember him. And also we've got a Mare's Handicap Chase and a bumper as well to round things off. So hopefully we can continue the momentum, obviously, with Dancing Jeremy winning last week on top 3, 14-1 winner. I was able to live up to your winner on top 2, Deck. So
which I won on top 3 as well.
Yeah, you did. You did. Yeah, absolutely. So now we're doing well. Cooking with gas is what I.
We are putting ourselves under pressure now.
We are putting ourselves
above 14-1.
I think I might have one though for the handicap chase, but we will see. Well, without further ado, Dak, we will start in what's probably going to be one of the more informative races on the card. It's the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Mare's Beginner's Chase. The program for Mares Over Fences is not quite what it is in comparison to over hurdles. I know you have a path for them, but it's still, there's still parts of the season where they can be a little bit hard to place, and that's as a reason mares do go missing in the winter at some stages. But they all have to start out somewhere, and this is a good opportunity for a lot of mares. The highest rated here over hurdles are the few highest rated here. Henning, Law Ella, Presenting Diane. They're probably going to be the 3 towards the top of the market. The one I quite liked was Rebel Treaty, who was, showing improved form over hurdles. Only a 5-year-old who's had 4 hurdle starts. She did have 4 point-to-point starts though, and did win one. And it took her a little while to kind of get acclimatized to life under rules, but she was definitely going the right way. And I think it's very interesting that they are going chasing with her without winning over hurdles. Obviously, the experience that she has in point-to-points is kind of probably what's driving it. But a 5-year-old mare going chasing, which is quite rare, to be honest. I know there is a few 5-year-olds in here, but it is quite rare to see a 5-year-old going chasing. She's one that I want to keep a very, very close eye on going forward. I don't know if she'll be good enough to win this race, Deck, but who do you have it between this beginners for the mares?
I like 2 of them. The first one is Henning. She's a 3-time hurdle winner. She's won off 116 over hurdles. I'm not sure if she's the highest rated hurdler in the field, but I think she's the one who's won off the highest mark. The rest of if anything's rated higher, may have won well from below 116 or maybe just won a couple of conditions races, but she has won off 116. She is closely matched with St. Donna, although she certainly achieved more. They were close enough in Henning's maiden. It might have been. But the one I'd probably side with, and it's another 5-year-old, Andy, it's Presenting Diane. She beat Evernock Fizz over hurdles, who, is a decent yardstick.
Welsh champion hurdle winner.
Sorry,
she's a Welsh champion hurdle winner, Evernock Fizz.
Yeah, well, there you are. And did she win over fences at Cheltenham? or one of
She
the meetings.
won over. Yeah, she won the October meeting. I think she won over fences. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Handicap.
No, she's one of those mares you follow off a cliff. Like, you know,
Mm.
I do like those mares that are not quite top class, but they run their race every single time. You can usually back them at decent odds in better races, and they'll always run into a place. And we'd probably talk about more of them as the season goes on, and you know we'd probably be harping on about them every time they run. But she has chasing experience. She made her debut in September when she was second to Paddy's Passion. Jack Kennedy's booked, which you know I think that's telling you something as well. I think she takes this, but I do think Henning's only a 6-year-old. Like, I don't think there's too many 7 or 8-year-olds in this field. Like, they're all 5 and 6.
Do have a 10-year-old in there, battle away
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
top.
But I didn't say there was no 10-year-olds.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's true.
No, but there's a lot of 6-year-olds and there's a few 5-year-olds. Good to see. Gone over fences early. Yeah, I think she could be. I think she's the one who takes this, but I do think Henning, who's winning off 116 over hurdles, could be the danger.
Fair enough. I think Law Ella is probably the one to be. You are right about horses winning off 116. Law Ella did win off it. Well, she didn't really. She was rated 116. She won a maiden hurdle. She probably, like, she was put up to 123 for winning that maiden hurdle. Maybe that was harsh. She was well beaten on her handicap debut, beaten favourite, but she was reported, or the vet reported her to be distressed post race, and we haven't seen her since May. Take out that run, you can make the argument that she is the most progressive mare in the field. First time tongue tie as well for Keith Donoghue and Gavin Cromwell. Obviously, both of them very much in form. I think she'd be the one for me to win this race, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on Rebel Treaty. I do think it's very significant that they're going chasing this quickly when she, like, I don't know, she would say she'd have the ability to win a maiden hurdle as they are getting like tougher at this time of year, but she'd definitely win a handicap. And I think that the fact that they're going chasing, I think you could see a rapidly improving mare in the coming months. But she might need 2 or 3 runs just to, get her mark. And she's by Old Man River, Janie Mack. Didn't know he went to stud. Good old Man River. So yeah, very. Sorry.
He favourite for the Derby at one stage, was he?
He was, yeah. Finscale Beale was the mother, and he was by Monju. He had a real big reputation. Aidan O'Brien trained him. Didn't quite live up to it, but he's
was he around the same time as Mars?
He wasn't far off. Yeah, Mars and Old Man River. Yeah, the 2 height machines around the time of John F. Kennedy as well, if you remember him. Anyway, so yeah, I do digress. So Law Ella for me to win the race, but I think Rebel Treaty be going into the top tracker, especially if she jumps well. And Deck it was
presenting Diane, but I think Henning in danger. Like, we've named a lot of these that
we think
are so close, and and many of them will be off.
I'd say that's the question. The mare's beginners, it's not the easiest of starts, but it is an informative race nonetheless. I have a much bigger opinion on the 215, the Thurles races.ie handicap chase, and I'm just going to move the ticker because I need to still get used to this. This is going to be a very, very competitive heat as well. It's not to 102, so it's you're very much in your territory here, Deck. I know you do like Adara Rue, if you want to take it away with her.
Yeah, now she hasn't run since April, but I think on her last run, she definitely, it was a handicap debut. And look, handicap chase debuts can be different at this level, different to handicap hurdles debuts. They've plenty of racing experience and they've jumped. But she bumped into one that day, Likeable Chancer, who's also in here, but off £12 higher. And Dara Rue is off £5 higher. And I suppose Shane took off 7 the last day, but he only takes off 5 this time. But she's one of her hurdles off 105. So, she's at least, you'd like to think she's going to be a better chaser. And she did show that on debut, I think. So she's at least £5 to play with. I'm sure she's plenty more. I suppose, off top weight, you have to take a chance on fitness, been off since April. But look, you can get them fit, it's just you have to take that gamble. But If she is fit and she's trying, she's an obvious chance on that last one.
Yeah, no, she does. And again, the top weights, sometimes they can, when they're ready to go up a grade, they can give the weight away in this type of race. There's two that I quite liked in this. They're both your number 7 and 8 on the race card. The first one being Tennessee Titan. And it's not because I like American football. I just think that it was actually the betting patterns last time. This horse is going to have a first time, I think it's first time tongue tie. It's going to run in. I just thought like this horse was backed very, very well for his chase debut at Wexford because he had a certain amount of runs over hurdles and he has a certain amount of runs over hurdles and he's below a certain threshold. I think it's like below 102 or something like that. You can go straight into a handicap over fences. Like you can correct me on that, deck, if I'm wrong. But
yeah, go on.
Something like that, yeah. So he was they bounced him out, and for whatever reason he stopped very, very quickly. I'm not sure if it was to do with the trip. I know he did make a couple of mistakes which he was entitled to on his chase debut, but there was a lot more expected of him that day. And he was running well over hurdles prior. And I just have a feeling that connections may have thought a switch to fences would have brought out a little bit more improvement, and sometimes that improvement would be shown on a second start. So I know he was pulled up, but he went well for a long way, I thought, at Wexford, and I think connections or jockey just minded him. I think he'll see a much better horse here. He'll be telephone number prices, I'd imagine, based on his first run over fences, and I'd keep a very, very close eye on the betting. Another one I'm going with, which is again should be a big price, but again lacks a bit of experience under rules, is Plain or Battered, and he's only ran in one chase in his life, and it was actually in a hunter's chase, but he was only beaten 2 3/4 lengths by It's on the Line, who went on to I think he won the Cheltenham Fox Hunters, didn't he? And then I think he won the Punchestown one as well. No, he was second at Cheltenham and then won at Punchestown. I thought that was a pretty good run for his first start over fences. Earl of Desmond, who was second, is obviously a nice hunter as well. So I think based on that run, 88 looks very workable. Look, he's probably not a hurdler, but so I would kind of forgive his runs over the smaller obstacles. Like if he's been running point to point in hunter chases, he goes straight into a handicap here. He's only a 6-year-old. He could definitely improve. He seemed to enjoy the test on his first start over fences, and I know it's hard to kind of compare hunter chase form and handicap form, but based on what he did, I think at Cork in April of last year, I think there should be plenty of room to work off 88. James O'Sullivan also takes 3 pounds off. Now, the only question is he's been off 210 days. Is Thursday going to be the day? But he's going to be a price that's more than big enough that you can take a chance on. And again, if he's probably one you can back next 2 or 3 times. So it'll be Tennessee Titan or Plain or Battered for me too, to keep a very, very close eye on. And Deck, you're with the top weight, yeah?
Top weight, and there we had another one off. She's off since April, but look, if she's fit, I think she's one with an obvious chance based on winning over hurdles off £5 higher and just bumped into a well handicapped horse and likable chance at the last day.
Lovely. On to the next race, which is probably going to be the one Twitter takes the most note of. The Thurles Mares Maiden Hurdle, and here you are, Deck, talking about nearly thinking this was a mares only card, and you're not wrong. There's plenty of opportunities for them on this card. Brighter Days Ahead, who's probably going to be long odds on to open her account over hurdles. Dual bumper winner. Arguably more impressive on her debut than she was at Fairyhouse, albeit Fairyhouse was probably a hotter race. Look, do you think she just goes and wins this, Deck? I know that you think it might be a bit of a stronger race on paper than it may seem.
Yeah, look, I suppose our bumper form, she won well at that sales bumper at Easter. Willie the Builder has obviously followed up, and we've spoken about Willie the Builder on a couple of other taps. Willie the Builder was 5th. one went into my notebook was Tommy's Call, and we spoke about him a couple of times. And he ran a big race. He finished third at 100-1. He's a son of Jenny Shield.
Jenny's Jill, yeah.
You remember Jenny Shield, who I think she was placed in grade ones, particularly at the Punchestown Festival. And you said she won at Royal Ascot as well.
I think she won the Queen Alexandra at Royal Ascot, or she won she might have won the handicap. She won at Royal Ascot anyway.
Yeah, like one of those mares we were talking about, really like, well, not quite top class, but ran a race, every time she was asked about what it was. And I was delighted to see a son of hers running a big race. So look, she hasn't jumped yet, so we just don't know. And I think Roxtown Girl could be a danger. She was second to Leah Strix at Fairy House. She didn't jump well, but you'd be hoping with that under her belt now, she's going to jump better. She was seventh in the Mayor's Bumper at Aintree, and she was third at Leopardstown to Fun. And she was also not beaten far by Facile Mode last Christmas. She's obviously well thought of. And if her jumping has sharpened up with a bit of racing experience or jumping experience the last day at Fairy House, when it was probably very boggy as well, like, you'd forgive her. I think she could be a big danger here, because what are you making of these latest Jigginstown horses? They're kind of gone down a different route, where they used to buy. They love splashing the cash on boats, like, didn't they? They were always looking to buy. Well, they were buying point-to-point winners, and it's not that simple. You don't just buy them because they won the point-to-point and they're going to turn into a Gold Cup horse. But I think they've gone about it a bit differently. They've a couple of French breds now, and obviously they've this mare that's gone down the bumper route. I don't know what they bought though. They're obviously overhyped because of the colours they're in. Have we seen it? Really good one, yeah.
From Jigginstown. On their newer ones, not really. King of Kingsfield is kind of like he was one of about 100 horses that was favoured for the bumper one stage last year. And he didn't really live up to it.
They're going to be underpriced every time they run, especially on debut or jumping debut, aren't they? Like, because of the colours they're in. And from what we've seen before, but we have to. Although Willie the Builder has Frank the Farm, she has to come out and jump and show she's up to the test of jumping. So I don't think it's probably going to be very, very short. I don't think it's going to be that straightforward. And I do think Roxtown Girl, they have to think a lot of her. The races she ran in, the 2 grade 2 bumpers, and she has that jumping experience under her belt now. I think she could spring a surprise.
Very interesting. I think the favourite wins, but that's how boring I am. I think she was very impressive on her debut, and I'm very much looking forward to her. And I can't wait to see everyone posting their Mayor's Novice Hurdle slips 5 minutes before the off. Well, then she goes and wins easy, and everyone's on her 4 points less or something with 6 months to go before Cheltenham. But anyway, again, we'll move on to the Lou Handicap Hurdle, 80 to 95. So this is your ballpark, Derek. This is what this is what the podcast was created for, really.
Go as low as you can.
Exactly.
Be there.
15 runners and 3 reserves, just in case.
Just to mention reserves at this level, it's not because they're bottom of the handicap. In Ireland, they're balloted out. So there's lots of rules to the ballot, but basically, like, if you get balloted out, you're automatically in, first of all.
The next time, isn't it?
But it depends on when you've last run as well. There's a couple of different rules to it, but basically, the ones that are reserves are not the lowest rated. You could be top weight and balloted out of the race and have to wait to get in.
Yeah. Well, Dec, I imagine Colin Wayne is probably going to be your market leader because he showed much improved form in his last start. when he was beating 6 lengths all the same and got a pound for it. So I'd be ruling him out in the back of that. But yeah, there's very little go on here in terms of form. Port Arlington was like he finally completed a start. Again, showed kind of improved form, albeit beating 11 lengths at Killarney. But again, only a 4-year-old with plenty of experience in handicaps as well, be it on the flat and over hurdles. Where did you land here, Deck? This is not easy at all.
No, look, there's two I have it between. The first top weight star official, he was outstayed by an improver at Tremor last Thursday. So like probably laid out the win and bumped into one. Look, if repeating that run off the same mark, he's probably gonna go up in the handicap. But obviously he got the entered for got entered here for the new mark came in. So you could argue he's going to be well in running here off 95 again. But the one I got on the side with is the filly. And this is as far as I got to this race without finding a gelding. Start official with the horse one. It's Destival.
Okay.
She's had 2 handicap runs, but she was very unlucky on the second run at Quebec, and that's the one we're looking for at this level, isn't it? As we said in the last few shows, we're looking for watching them for that second run in a handicap, because horses at this level, I think, just need that first run to get used to going from maiden hurdles where you're dropped out the back and getting hurdles coming thick and fast at you. They usually need that first run. So that was our second run. She was unlucky. She made 2 mistakes and they really cost her. She's had a spin on the flat since. But like if she jumps and if she's got over those mistakes and it's really sharpened her up, I think she takes this.
All right, okay. That's a bold enough show. I went on a similar wavelength to you. Again, was a mare, which it's going to be the kind of it's the topic of the show really. It's the one just right below you, Deck, of Whalen's Glory, number 12. She showed very little really in maiden hurdles, which is unsurprising when you're operating at this level. Handicap debut, completely utter no show as well. But they persevered and she ran well for a long way. Tremor as a 33-1 shot. She just weakened. She wasn't quick enough, basically, is the easiest way to put it. She'd probably never led in her life. Tremor's, I know Thurles is a tight track as well, but Tremor is just on a different level. And then they stepped her up to 3 miles the last day, and it just never really worked. She traveled well, and then she tried to make a run. I just don't think she stayed really. Now they are coming back all the way to 2 miles on Sunday or Saturday, Sunday and Thursday. If this race was over 2.5, I'd be a lot more confident. But she showed me enough at Tremor to suggest that the price that you're likely going to get, which I would like to hope is 33-1, a replication of her run at Thurles might see her sneak a place, and I think that's all you can really ask for in a field like this. Like, this is, as I said, not easy. Port Arlington and your one, Destival, I'd say, be near enough the top of the market, and Cullen Wayne. Of Whalen's Glory I don't think would be considered. And she showed me enough that day at Tremor, despite getting beaten 17.5 lengths, that she, the experience might stand to her, and maybe a little bit of better ground will help as well, which hopefully she'll get. I know there is a lot of rain in the area, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, recording. Exactly. Exactly, yeah. Give me all the rain. So yeah, of Whalen's Glory for me, very, very tentatively. And Deck, you sounded quite confident on Destival, were you?
Yeah, I do like to look at Destival, but I do think Start Official repeating that run the last day is definitely a danger.
Very good, very good. Moving on to the He'll Be Remembered hurdle over 2 miles, over 3 miles.
They knew to be a race named after him.
Yeah, exactly.
They knew he'd be remembered.
He is being remembered. A 3-time winner of this race himself, and I think he was placed at Thurles in a maiden hurdle as well, but he did enjoy the place. A horse that was probably a little bit too honest for his own good. He always ran a strong race, and he seemed to excel in those conditions races. But yeah, no, a great horse nonetheless. And it's nice to see him have a Thurles name in a race after him. Just a 6 going to post. The return of Aspire Tower is another probably news angle. Hasn't been seen in 102 days. Very, very good juvenile hurdler. I think he was second to Burning Victory. That was Goshen's Triumph Hurdle, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And then he beat Abacadabras. Ran well in a couple grade ones then as well. And it's good to see him over 3 miles, because I think
he's
one of
always
us,
shaped like a stayer, hasn't he?
yeah, one of us put him up for the Stayers Hurdle last year, and he wasn't seen. So it is interesting that they're coming straight out over 3 miles. Now a 7-year-old, probably worth remembering how keen he was as a younger horse, and this is his first run in 902 days. So Rachel Blackmore might have a challenge over 3 miles, with how fresh the horse is likely to be. Deck, one of your old favourites, he was going to win it all last year, Beacon Edge, but I think the ground went for him in the Coral Cup. Cashback, who's probably going to accompany Aspire Tower on the front end. He's not what he used to be, 11-year-old, but these are the type of races that you can see him winning. HMS Seahorse, who is either just doesn't show up or is usually very impressive. Maybe that's a little bit unfair saying he doesn't show up, but he didn't show up in the Irish Harwich, but ran quite well at the Galway Festival in the qualified riders race, and was very impressive at Navan in January time. I think that put him basically favoured for the Coral Cup or near enough to it when he was disappointing at the Cheltenham Festival. Walking on Glass, who I would imagine this is a prep for something like the Cork National or something, or one of those staying chases. Probably not the Tri-Town. I don't think he'd get into that, but probably something like the Cork National. And then What's Available. Again, very, very hard horse to place, and it's hard to make a case for him, although he does like Thurles. Deck, I'll hand it over to you. Interesting sextet, not an easy race to call, but there's a lot of different angles into this race as well.
Yeah.
What do you say here?
Look, they're not races I like to get heavily involved in. They're very, very difficult. It might be best waiting to see them line up to see who's actually trying. Usually the safest bet in these races is the chaser who has a race coming up. It's not going to affect their mark. They need to spin. It's racing experience. It's sharpening them up, because is Beacon Edge going to try win this if he's going to look to contest those high class handicap hurdles? I do find it difficult. And many times have we seen the likes of Annie Second Now or Tiger Roll turn up in these the likes of these races and run a really, really big race. Who else can I think of? You could possibly see a Monkfish running in one of these type of races this year. I think they can be quite difficult. Aspire Tower is great to see him back. Obviously, he's off since April 21. Always shaped like a stair, high class on his day. Look, I don't know, Andy. It's not one I have a massive opinion on. I'm not really going to force it. You reckon it's a prep for walking on glass?
Yeah, something like I think it's the Cork National. I could be embarrassing myself there now, but there's a 3.5 mile race early season at Cork. I think Gordon Elliott won it last year with a mare, I think, in the black and white colours. It's just escaping the name. There's also
that's the same day Impervious.
Yeah. I think that's the prep for him. And then there's also a race at I think it's Fairy House. There's a 3.5 mile chase that he ran in last year, and I know he did because I backed him.
Yeah, that's on Hatton's Grace Day.
Yeah, sure. the Porterstown in December. Now I don't know if it's a prep for that because that's in December. I'm sure there's closer to the day races. But there is. I'm almost certain there's a race in Cork, and I'm gonna have to try and find that. Let me try and find that in a minute. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
think
think
that's
it
a
is
prep for him.
the Cork National you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that it's a prep race for that. I think that, look, if this race wasn't over 3 miles, I would have said, look, the here and now horse, the horse who has probably no future targets and is just here to enjoy himself and have a good time and pick up pots like this, it's cashback. But the problem is it's 3 miles, and I don't know if that horse is going to get 3 miles. It's very, very, it's not an easy one to really.
He was still very keen at Punchestown last year, wasn't he? For a horse
Yeah.
with lots
He
of racing
was.
experience and getting on. I'm
Mm.
thinking the opposite to you. I'm thinking the chaser who has some, like, I suppose on that theory, I'd be putting up the one you mentioned, Walking on Glass, but it's not a race I'm going to get involved in, or I would be persuading anyone to have a bet on anyone.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. As I
This is not what this podcast is about.
No, we're disgracing ourselves. We're disgracing ourselves.
Well, it's not about backing him in these races. It's about saying Walking on Glass going to win the Cork National, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly. And he probably will, to be honest with you. I think he'll have a cracking chance of it. All right, we'll move on to the Premier County Mares. Oh, Jesus Christ. The Premier County Mares Handicap Hurdle. And this may as well have been a Mares only card. I think we've only tipped Mares at this stage.
Have we seen, did Benny, did you win it at the beginner's chase on this card?
I don't know if it was this card. I think it was Vroom Vroom Mag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
and there's listed a grade 2 Mares chases at Thurles as well, I think.
Yeah, there's one at Limerick just after Cheltenham, and then there's two at Limerick.
There's actually on Clonmel Oil chase day.
Anyway, on to the Premier County there. Yeah, I think Clonmel. We're looking forward to covering a bit of Clonmel in the near future, hopefully as well. Right, the Premier County Mares Handicap Hurdle deck, 80 to 102. So we're staying in your bracket here. Again, with the 15 with the reserves, a little bit more form to go on at this stage. Walkout was kind of the interesting one for me. I thought it was much more like it the last twice, especially even he was only beating a length and a half at Killarney the last day, and it got very, very tight at the last, and he hasn't actually been put up because of the tight finish. A replication of that run should see her kind of, I would think, go close. Where did you come down on here?
There's actually 4 I like.
Oh, Jesus, you can't be doing that. The listeners be turning us off. You had to tip
this is wide open. This. No fussing. The yard that's absolutely red hot at the moment. The Thurles. She won her maiden here, and she was staying on over 2 mile for the last day. She's been dropped 1 pound, obviously stepping up to 2 mile 7. I think she's a good chance for an inform yard. Walk in time off 94. She's actually she's a handicap winner over 3 miles. That was off 85. So she's 9 pound higher. Our next 2 runs were over 2 mile 2 and 2 mile 4, and she was staying on well in both. So she the mark she has now is still workable. Back up to 2 mile 7 here. She's definitely gonna have a chance. There's a reserve 2 can do 90. She's had 3 maiden runs and 3 maiden runs and 1 handicap run, all over 2 mile to 2 mile 1.5. It's not obvious on her form, I don't think. Like, she's not jumping off the page, running on, but being up to 2 mile 7 here for her second run in a handicap is, one of the things we're definitely looking out for, unless they think she's brutal, and she's just
throwing the Hail Mary already on the second handicap start. Yeah.
It's just she hasn't showed a lot of obvious signs, I don't think, but she is stepped up to 2 mile 7. It is one of the rules, so you have to take note of her. But I suppose if I had to pick one out of the 4, it would be Goody Girl. She was a winner of 89 over 2 mile 1. That was her handicap debut. She was a big eye catcher when she was up to 2 mile 5 off 96 the last day. She up another 2 pound. stepping up another 2 furlongs, I think she's a big chance here. But I do think this race is quite competitive.
It is for the grade. It is, yeah, absolutely.
Now they could all look at it and go, "This is competitive." Not today. It's another
Not
one.
today, lad.
It's another one I'd like to be in the ring to hear what the jockeys have to say. Like, you know, because they're gonna come out with the first thing that's going. They're gonna be asses. But what was said inside? Who's going forward? You know, who's trying, and that's you'd want to be listening to those conversations before having a bet. Really, you'd love to get that info, wouldn't you? That's all you need.
That's it.
Who's
Make us redundant, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, but you know, we must try to get ourselves one of those passes and get close enough just to hear that little conversation. That's
get
all
a
you need
tweet
to know. Who's going forward? Who said they're going forward? That'll tell you which ones of them are trying. But yeah, look, I do like the 4 of them. But if they narrow it down to 1, it'd be Goody Girl. The others were now fussing walking time and 2 can do.
Very good. Yeah, I'm a devil for a Dermot McLaughlin horse as well. I'm a big fan of him as a trainer. Connor Maxwell as well, very underrated jockey. I think Goody Girl is a fantastic chance as well, but I think Walkout, I'm going to stick with the replication of her last run at Killarney. I think I can understand why she wasn't penalised. But and you know, Port of Wine was in there as well, but I think she'll reverse the form with Port of Wine.
Was that the race at Killarney?
Yeah.
The winner was Thurles against the Torm Moon, is it?
Yeah. I just think that Walkout was just a touch unlucky. I think I'm not saying she could have won, but I think she could have been very, very close, like right in the pitch in there. And they've left her on the same mark. Rachel Blackmore takes the ride as well, which I don't know if you want to call it significant or not, but I think it's an interesting enough booking. She probably was asked to ride a lot of days, to be honest, today. So and she's chosen Walkout. So it will be Walkout for me, Deck, and then Goody Girl for yourself, is it?
Goody Girl. Well, look, I wouldn't talk anyone out of the other 3 either.
Bound them all. All right, Deck. Well, this is nearly a record tap pod, and this is probably what we're here for. Not usually the hour-long ones, but always good when we get through it at a pace. Very interesting bumper to end the card, and very interesting. But what I mean by that is keep the old man out, which I think this is incredible. One run in its life in a maiden hurdle, and it refused. Which is absolutely hilarious.
Was very unruly.
Yeah,
as well.
I actually remember this. Yeah, unruly beforehand, unseated jockey and loose before start, refused to race when veered badly left and ran out start, then unseated. Gelding suspended for 30 days. Unacceptable behaviour. Sounds like getting detention at skill. The stewards have to call in the fucking horse, not the jockey. You. They have to walk down to the stables and ban the horse. Poor Peter Carberry. Anyway, yeah, keep the old man out. So we'll see if he can just be good and not get banned. See if he's learned that in detention. Usually I do like that to back horses by hurdling experience that come back to bumpers, but I don't know if I can qualify horses that run really at the start and end up going the wrong way around the track and reverting back to her bumpers.
It's not quite a hurdle experience, is it?
No, it's being a prick experience, actually. Anyway, where do you want to go in the bumper?
The one I was looking at is Can't Resist It. Now, I'd be kind of disappointed with the race if Can't Resist It won it, but I'm not sure how deep it is. He was second to Arctic Gale at Fairyhouse the last day, almost stole it. It took Arctic Gale a while to get going and get up. Now, when he did get up, he won by 3 lengths. We actually put Arctic Gale up that day, I think. And that was based on the second to My Great May, who has franked that form again. And as I said, Can't Resist has plenty of racing experience, which can stand you in a bumper. He's ran plenty of times now. No hurdling experience, but obviously, looked much more the finished article the last day. And could just catch, that being turned out quickly again in a bumper. They want to win one. Could just catch some of these calls, even if they go on to become better race horses than him.
Very good. That's an interesting one. Yeah, no, experience can always count for a lot in bumpers. Like I was seeing one here answering, 8-year-old who's having his 9th start in a bumper. I don't know why you need 9 starts in a bumper. Like he mustn't be able to jump a
Just
shadow.
run on the flat.
He mustn't like. I would like. There must be answering shaped holes in the Doyle's training facilities if in their schooling hurdles if he's having his 9th start in a bumper. But yeah, no, I don't. I do agree with you, Deck. I don't think this is the strongest bumper we'll ever see. Can't resist it. You are right. He's probably just going to run his race, and whether that's good enough is another thing. I would imagine the enabler with his €200,000 price tag after finishing second in a point to point is probably going to be the market seller. Yeah. Blue Devassi is the reserve as well, so he might get a run, but he actually had a €235,000 price tag, Goffs. But I don't think he's going to get a run. Again, failed to win a point to point, was second that day. Schlieve Corrin as well. Unfortunate, he's a reserve. He actually did manage to win a point to point. By an up and coming stallion as well in Affinity. He was in the Sea the Stars colours. Jim Bolger, Beretta and John Ox trained it. He's a stallion you might just want to keep an eye on. He is by Sea the Stars, and is related to Soldier of Fortune, who himself was a decent enough jump sire, but he is getting some nice horses and might just be worth keeping an eye on if you are into the breeding side of it. Probably no bet for me, Deck. I might follow you in on Can't Resist It just on the experience part of it, but yeah, it's probably not a race. We're not mad on bumpers, especially not at this time of year anyway.
Look, they're worth watching. Probably the most important race you can watch, but punting on them.
Unless
I'm a bit disappointed this not a mare's bumper, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. What were they thinking? They were nearly there. Very good. Well, we do have Navan Wednesday, Dundalk Friday, which we just keep an eye on our Twitter pages for little tips there. I might throw something up at Navan, on Wednesday morning. Deck, you're going away, aren't you?
I'm away. I'm away for a week tomorrow. So look, I might be sitting by the pool. I'll have a glance through. Maybe not for Navan tomorrow, but I'll be having a look at Limerick the weekend anyway.
And if I'm not busy, I might wander up to Leopardstown on Saturday, who have a decent enough card, a few group races on that card as well. So Killavullen Stakes in the Orfield, so the usually decent 2-year-olds pop up around this time of year. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the Take a Pull podcast. Do you want to just give any of your best bets, Deck, before we go on the 7 race card? Which ones are the ones you really want to earmark before we do?
Let me have a look. Obviously, it was Bestival, and they're real. I do think Roxtown Girl could spring a surprise, and then Goody Girl, but I'll be claiming any of those forward in that race. No, I won't be. It is Goody Girl, but I'll say Jesus. I mentioned that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He mentioned that one.
He did. Yeah, we mentioned them all. Yeah. Quick recap. Is that's it for Deck for yourself, or?
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Look, it's a tough enough card. There's no. I don't think there's any real standouts. Like we started the podcast well. But those ones that we liked in those races, they really stood out. They ticked a lot of the boxes, the things we're looking for. There's not really one of these on the card, I don't think.
I don't think so.
But there's bits of it. It's a tricky card, but they have to make it hard for us sometimes, don't they?
They do, yeah. I think Law Ella can go well in the mare's beginners, but beginners chases, it's not really where you should be punting hard. I do think she'll take the chasing well. However, Rebel Treaty in that race will be one for your top tracker. The 215 was Tennessee Titan and Plainer Battered, both very, very small stakes, but should be telephone number prices and might give you a little room for your money. There was nothing in the maiden hurdle. There was anything in the handicap hurdle. O'Whalen's Glory as well, another one that could just be a telephone number price to just have a sparing bet on, and then finding the handicap hurdle walk out under Rachel Blackmore, which would probably be my strongest bet on the card, but I would be expecting her to be, near enough the top of the market. So that brings us to the end of Top 4 deck. Hopefully we find a few winners and you'll be back with hopefully a nice little tan and well relaxed. And we'll be back for Top 5, which is going to be really getting into the national hunt season now. It's going to be really starting now when you come back.
We could be looking at Down Royal, could we?
Possibly. I was thinking Down Royal. I was wondering if there was anything before that, but I don't know. But yeah, no, we'll keep bringing the content if everyone just keeps sharing, subscribing. Tell us what you think. We are listening, so we are happy to observations. Take a poll or go for home. We'll be back when there's some reviewable races, but we haven't seen anything that is absolutely wowed us. And I don't think Deck would be interested in reviewing Paddy Toomey, 2-year-old flat winner. So we'll leave that one at the minute. So until then, guys, keep sharing, subscribing, and follow us on the social media platforms. And until then, guys, have a great time. Happy Bunting.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Bye.